few days ago, I posted a video about why Kentucky Fried Chicken changed their name to KFC, and my explanation was wrong. You see, I explained that the name change was KFC's way of nixing the word Kentucky, so they wouldn't have to pay licensing fees. But after posting this video, I noticed some of the comments were claiming I was full of so I retraced my steps and found where I went wrong. You see, I got this information from a Snopes article, but I didn't realize that Snopes had rated this article as Lost Legend. A Lost Legend rating is their way of trolling people, and I fell for it. A few days ago, I was hand washing the last plate when I washed away the dirt and saw a message. Help me. I froze. Who could have left this? There are only 4 people in our house. My mom, my dad, my brother, and me. And whoever wrote this had left it specifically for me. We all had our own days to wash the dishes. Mine was Monday. So whoever wrote this must have known I'd be the one washing this plate. But why leave a message on a dish? Why not just ask me directly? Then I remembered my brother. He was supposed to come home from a school trip 3 days ago. It had been a week. Whenever I asked my parents where he was, they always said the same thing. His trip got extended. I believed them, but now I wasn't so sure. My brother wasn't just my brother. He was my best friend. We played every game together. He'd sneak me snacks when our parents weren't looking. Whenever I was scared, he'd tell me everything was going to be okay. And now he was gone. I looked back at the message, help me. What if this was from him? But how? He wasn't even home. Unless he was. My parents had one rule I'd never been allowed to break. Never go into the basement. They told me I couldn't go down there until I started high school. I never questioned it. But suddenly, I wasn't thinking about the rule anymore. I was thinking about my brother. I walked toward the basement door. It was locked. I stared at it for a few seconds. Then I took a deep breath. Whatever was behind that door, I had to find out. I grabbed the vacuum cleaner. It was the only thing I could think of using as a weapon. Then I swung it against the door. The lock broke. I rushed down the stairs. I'm here to save you! And then I saw him. My brother was lying unconscious on the floor. My heart stopped. I dropped the vacuum and ran toward him. Wake up! I shook his shoulder. His eyes slowly opened. You actually got my message. I nearly started crying. Then he told me everything. He hadn't been on a school trip. Our parents locked him in the basement because his grades were too low. They made him study down there all day and night. He was allowed food, but never allowed upstairs. And we both had no phones, no way of contact. So he waited for the one day he knew I'd be washing dishes, Monday. He took a stone from the basement floor and scratched the message into a plate. Then he covered it with food stains so our parents wouldn't notice. I grabbed his arm and helped him toward the stairs. We were almost at the top when I saw someone standing there. My dad. He was staring directly at us. And what do you think you're doing? I stood in front of my brother, saving him. My dad's expression changed. Well, he grabbed the door. Now you're going to need someone to save both of you. I was hand washing the last plate when I washed away the dirt.
This is a magical headset.
Robot, please help me cook. Wait! What are you doing? I'm not the food.
The girl couldn't believe that a plain fried egg would cost $5,000. She scooped up a spoonful in disbelief and took a taste, only to realize this was no ordinary fried egg at all. Jimmy, curious, took a bite too. And sure enough, it wasn't your average fried egg. It turned out to be made from a mix of mango, diced pear, and wine. Then the waiter brought out what looked like a pot of—
Is your bronzy makeup get—
I took my girlfriend to the animal shelter to adopt a cat, praying it would save her life. Her therapist suggested a cat after months of watching her lie in our bed for entire days at a time. So we drove to the shelter and walked cage to cage until we found a scrawny gray cat pressed into the back corner, flinching at every hand that came near. A worker came up beside us. She's had a rough life, and I'm not sure she'll ever trust humans again. My chest went tight because that sounded like something a doctor might say about my girlfriend one day. My girlfriend nodded and pointed at the little gray cat. I want her. I squeezed her hand. Then she's ours. I spent the whole drive home praying this would go right so I could have my girlfriend back. For 2 weeks, the cat didn't make a sound and hid from us. Then one evening, I found my girlfriend cross-legged on the bedroom floor, the cat pawing at a shoelace, meowing every time she stopped moving it. She looked up, beaming. She wants to play. I crouched down next to them. Look at you, cat whisperer. She actually laughed, and for a second, I let myself believe we were turning a corner. The next day, her phone rang, and the cat bolted under the bed, refusing to come out for 2 full days, no matter what we tried. My girlfriend sat on the floor outside the bed frame every—
Do you want a resolution, or do you want to be right? Proving a point simply satisfies your ego.
Finally, I hit 2 million subscribers.
Oof. Did someone say wish?
No.
Well, I'm here.
I don't want to dance with you if I don't
A shark swallowed a severed arm before it was eaten by a different shark. And then later, at the aquarium, that shark puked up the arm, which had tattoos. But police noticed the arm wasn't bitten off by the shark because the edge was clean, not shredded, meaning someone had used a knife to chop it off. So they matched one tattoo to a criminal who had recently vanished, leading them to their suspect, a man he was trying to blackmail. He agreed to talk, but before the trial, he was shot dead in his car. The case was closed, and to this day, no one knows what happened. The giant mirror would catch sunlight and focus the rays into a powerful beam. This would be aimed at cities and would ignite buildings and boil bodies of water. Nazi scientists actually drew up plans to build this thing. The mirror would be constructed in sections, connected in orbit, and controlled by rockets mounted on the back. And this would allow them to aim the beam and destroy entire cities. But they lost the war just a few months later, meaning it was never attempted. The giant mirror would catch sunlight and focus the rays into a powerful beam. If you strapped a baby to a pair of Cybertrucks to pull them, you would need 5,000 of them just to make them move. Now, if you did the same thing with anacondas, it would take. He marked the tiles with invisible ink, and some think he was wearing special contact lenses, allowing him to see symbols that no one else could, giving him an advantage. Soon, the other players grew suspicious and accused him of cheating, and before he could deny it, they grabbed a chair and slammed it down on his head. Police later found the marked tiles, but they never found the lenses. He marked the If you're stuck in a sauna, most people think they'll just wait it out until someone finds them. But this intense heat has been known to kill people who get stuck inside. Instead, find the source of the heat, usually in the corner, and try to turn it off or break it. Next, move close to a vent where the air is slightly cooler, and if all else fails, break the door to escape. If you're stuck in a sauna, if you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually withstand over 500 pounds of pressure. Now, a frog's bones are much weaker and could definitely be smashed by a regular book, but it would take an 8-foot-tall book closing on your head to crush your skull completely. If you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually withstand over 500 pounds of pressure. Now, a frog's bones are much weaker and could definitely be smashed by a regular book, but it would take an 8-foot-tall book closing on your head to crush your skull completely. If you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually withstand over 500 pounds of pressure. Now, a frog's bones are much weaker and could definitely be smashed by a regular book, but it would take an 8-foot-tall book closing on your head to crush your skull completely. If you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually withstand over 500 pounds of pressure. Now, a frog's bones are much weaker and could definitely be smashed by a regular book, but it would take an 8-foot-tall book closing on your head to crush your skull completely. If you shut a giant book on your head, you might think it would be heavy enough to crack open your skull. But the human head is made of dense bone, and it can actually. They made a long ditch inside the Civil War prison, and if you stepped past it, the guards would shoot you. You see, outside the line was shade and water, close enough for the prisoners to see. And since they were kept in the blazing sun, the temptation to cross the line was always there. But if even just one finger crossed, soldiers shot them dead, which is why they called it the deadline. Years later, this became a term for due dates, but when your brain hears it, you still react like it's life or death. They made a long ditch inside the Civil War prison, and if you stepped past it, the guards would shoot you. You see, outside the line, the
Providing a home for your little ones can feel overwhelming. Progressive created Up Payment, a down payment assistance program for first-time home buyers. Because your family's dream of home ownership is our dream too. Providing a home for your little ones can feel overwhelming. Progressive created.
The rooster is placed under a bowl with garlic rubbed on the back, and suspects are told it'll crow if the thief touches it. Each person enters the room and touches the bowl. As they leave, the trickster smells each person's hand. If it reeks of garlic, they touched the bowl, so they're probably innocent. But if one hand smells like nothing, that person never touched the bowl because they were afraid the rooster would give them away, meaning the thief is exposed without the rooster doing anything. The bird was stuffed inside the doll, and a head was placed on top. When the child picked it up, it would twitch and move. Even its beak would open and close. But as the bird struggled to escape, it would make the toy move, almost like it was powered by gears. Now, eventually, the bird would die, and the doll would turn into a coffin, holding the rotting corpse of the trapped animal. The bird was stuffed inside the doll, and a head was placed on top. The device was placed on your head, with small metal sticks touching your face. Each stick was adjusted to measure your nose, lips, and forehead. These measurements were used to figure out. A torpedo was hidden in the corpse's armpit as they were buried. And when a grave robber opened the coffin, it would trigger a tripwire inside. This released a firing pin, and as the gunpowder ignited, the explosion blasted metal balls straight into the thief's face. This would kill them instantly, and it acted as a warning to others. Leave the dead in peace or become one of them. A torpedo. 8 men rest their heads on a metal bar, as a sharp moving blade is powered by a crank that the barber turns. Once the machine starts, the blade moves across the row, shaving each man's face in one continuous sweep. Now everyone has to stay perfectly still, because the blade doesn't stop or slow down. If one person sneezed as the blade passed, he could end up with cuts or worse. And this is why this device never really caught on. They say he had a second face on the back of his head, one that could smile, cry, and even whisper terrible things at night. Legend has it that the face couldn't eat or speak, but it was said to laugh when he cried and mutter words only he could hear. No doctor would remove it, and the man claimed it tormented him constantly. And according to the legend, he couldn't take it anymore and ended his own life, leaving behind a chilling note about his suffering. They took a human skull from a burial ground and cut off the top before cleaning and polishing it. Next, they would carve designs into the bone before attaching metal and precious stones. And this sacred bowl was filled with wine for use in religious ceremonies. It was offered to the angriest gods to symbolize. A fan threw what appeared to be a rubber bat onto the stage at the concert, and without hesitation, Ozzy Osbourne picked it up and bit into it, thinking it was a toy. But to his shock, the bat was real. The moment he bit down, he realized the mistake as the bat's blood filled his mouth. He was rushed to the hospital immediately after the show to receive rabies shots. This train is headed straight towards 5 people. Now, if you pull this lever, the train will. As she sneezed, it ruptured a disc in her spine, and when it collapsed, a nerve got trapped between her two. Imagine you were robbing a grocery store, but if you took a few bones out of your body, you might think you'd instantly collapse inward, but your skeleton has 206 bones, and most are small and insignificant. You could remove some tiny bones in your ears and the tips of your fingers and still function normally. And if you get rid of your arm and leg bones, your torso would still be somewhat intact. But if you took out your pelvis, spine, and skull, you would no longer have the framework that supports your body. If you removed your eyeballs and then your skin, you would definitely still be the same person, just without eyeballs and skin. And if you continued removing parts of your body, like your muscles, nerves, and blood vessels, you'd still technically be you, just as a skeleton. But what if you took all of these parts and assembled them onto a new skeleton? Would you still be you? Or would the new skeleton with all of your parts be the new you? Who is who? If you remove a butterfly's tongue is as thin as a strand of hair and hollow like a tiny straw, and it could be threaded through the eye of a needle. Now, if you took a hippo's tongue and dropped it onto a microwave, it would cover the entire surface. But the blue whale's tongue is so massive that if you plopped it onto a car, the 5-ton muscle would crush the metal completely, flattening it like a pancake. A butterfly. If you collected all the grease from your hair, you'd have around a gram of oil per day. And after about 2 years, you'd have enough to fry a single corn dog. Now, he took the master key and pressed it into melted candle wax, making a perfect impression. The mold was smuggled out of the prison, and his allies used it to make a metal copy. They hid it inside a cake and sent it back to him. But when he tried the key, it didn't fit. So he sent another wax impression and waited for the cake. And this time, the key worked. He passed through every locked gate, simply walking out of the prison, and years later he became president of Ireland. He took the master key and pressed it into melted candle wax, making a perfect impression. The mold was smuggled out. Your body is placed vertically into a deep, narrow hole feet first. Then you're slowly lowered straight downward, standing upright underground. Instead of a coffin, you would be wrapped in a
This is my bag of air from the year 2018, so let's open it and see how it smells. Wait, where's that sound coming from? Do y'all hear that? Where's that sound coming from? Where's that coming from? What the? This is my...
Who is this girl and boy on my Lamborghini? Yo, nice Lambo. Can I take a picture with the girls?
Ew! Girls!
Whoa, please.
Hold on, let me put my...
Can I take a picture
girls?
Who are you calling girls?
You're the girl with those... What are those, bro? Bread?
What are those?
Bro, these are my Uggs.
They're ugly.
Ugly.
Well, guess what? This is my Lambo.
Prove it.
Put on this animation pack, and you'll notice your torso and upper arms go missing to form a pile next to you. Now put on an R6 converter bundle, which will simplify your body and make that pile invisible. Then search up Little Friend and accessories, put 3 unique specific custom items together to make yourself a specialized minifigure that will always follow you no matter what you do. Put on this animation pack, and you'll notice your torso and upper arms go missing to form a pile next to you. Now put on an R6.
This is the musical highway.
This is the musical Lewis.
Excuse me?
Yep, the road is covered in these tiny grooves that resonate music.
Well, they're not tiny, they're massive. Look how big they are.
Except it's famous for sounding horrible.
I mean, it is a road. Do you know what I mean? It's not Michael Jackson.
And you'll see why.
Just play me the road, Sean.
Well, the road was originally designed to replicate this popular song.
Hang on a minute. Is that... We don't need any more. Hey, we don't need any more. Woohoo!
During construction, each groove was made a fraction of an inch off.
It had literally one job. How'd you get that wrong?
So the entire thing is out of tune.
I'm actually scared.
And sounds like this.
If I get a copyright strike from a road... My ears! What is this cursed version of Jingle Bells? I keep thinking it's gonna get better, but it doesn't. Where is this road so I can avoid it?
This is the musical highway.
This is the musical Lewis.
Excuse me?
Yep, the road is covered in these tiny grooves that resonate music.
Well, they're not tiny.